quiet about these families. If it was one of your children, heads would be rolling right now. But because it's now, you don't care.
If it was one of your children, heads would be rolling right now. That was Daniel Myers speaking to a meeting of the Uvalde School Board tonight, where the question before the school board was whether to continue the employment contract of the school district's police chief, Pete Arredondo, who allowed over an hour to pass in Robb Elementary School in Uvalde before police opened the door of a classroom and killed a mass murderer who had killed 19 children and 2 teachers.
I have messages for Pete Arredondo and all the law enforcement that were there that day. Turn in your badge and step down. You don't deserve to wear one.
Chief Arredondo and his lawyers did not show up at the meeting tonight to present a public defense of the chief, but Arredondo's lawyers did submit a written statement to the school board in which they complained of inadequate due process as required, they say, by Texas law. And they said, quote, Chief Arredondo did the right thing. The chief did everything he knew how to save the children and school employees on May 24th. The technical legal argument Arredondo's lawyers made in the written statement was clearly presented, but the rest of the statement was very badly written and at times directly insulted people who lost family members in the mass murder. The statement actually says, so naturally, those affected lash out and seek more retribution by identifying a new target to focus their grief on, with the belief that it will help them stop hurting. Unfortunately, it won't. And so there are Pete Arredondo and his lawyers going inside the minds of the grieving families and claiming that those families are angry at Pete Arredondo and are expressing their anger at Pete Arredondo just to ease their own pain, not because of anything Pete Arredondo did or didn't do. Brett Cross, who lost his nephew in the mass murder, asked the school board to not do their business this time in a closed session.
Do not take this into closed session. We deserve to hear it. Our babies are dead, our teachers are dead, our parents are dead. The least y'all can do is show us the respect to do this in the public.
And after that, the school board went into closed session. When they came out of that closed session, this happened.
Mr. Board President, I move that good cause exists to terminate the non-certified contract of Pete Arredondo effective immediately. I further move that good cause exists to ratify the unpaid leave status of Mr. Arredondo starting July 19th, 2022. Finally, I move to authorize the superintendent to issue written notice to Mr. Arredondo of this board action, including filing any needed reports required by the termination.
Second. Got a motion by Ms. Laura Perez, second by Mr. Javier Flores. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 5, adjournment.
Mr. Board President, I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second. Got a motion by Ms. Laura Perez, second by Ms. Javier Flores. We stand adjourned. Thank you. Have a good night.
And joining us now from Uvalde is NBC News correspondent Priscilla Thompson, who was at that meeting tonight. Priscilla, what was it like when the suspense was finally broken and they took that vote to fire Pete Arredondo?
Yeah, Lawrence, you saw it there with the crowd erupting in applause and cheers. This is something that many people in this community have been waiting on for 3 months, and finally it coming tonight with the board finding that there is, in fact, good cause to terminate Chief Arredondo, or former Chief Arredondo's contract, effective immediately. And this was a very tense meeting. It began with around a handful of community members stepping to that microphone and sharing some some of those very impassioned speeches that you heard calling for transparency and accountability. They did not want this to happen behind closed doors, but the board said that because this was a personnel matter, they were required to do it behind closed doors, and they also wanted to consult with the school board's attorneys on this issue. And so they were in that closed door meeting for more than an hour, during which you could feel the tension in the room steadily rising as people continued to get up and go to the microphone and share their frustrations. At one point, a community member even saying, just come out and tell us what the decision is already. Stop wasting our time. And so this was by no means a done deal. Many of the families here have felt like there have been hiccups and misinformation every step of the way. Nothing about this process has been easy, and they expected that they were in for a fight tonight. As for Chief Arredondo, he did not attend in person. His attorney, of course, releasing that 17-page statement calling for his reinstatement and also calling for back pay and benefits. That obviously did not happen tonight. Many of the families are calling this a victory for the victims, the families, and also this community. Lawrence?
NBC's Priscilla Thompson, thank you very much for that reporting from Uvalde tonight.